And I want to go back to one thing that this will full circle it, but you said something along the lines of digital marketing, social media, and something else came together. It was TV, yes, those were coming together, and you said you kind of realized it prior to it actually happening. We're in that now, and how do you feel like you are utilizing social media? Because that's something that we're always trying to figure out. Facebook, it has the analytics of something that is you don't like it.
I feel like that's because you don't know anything about it yet.
We're trying to figure. We really don't know anything about it yet either. I feel like they have like just a rabbit hole of things that consumers aren't really aware of yet.
Yeah. Well, Facebook's biggest thing is they have Instagram.
Yeah.
And that's why Facebook's great.
Okay.
But anyways, continue.
I want to take you to that, and how did that work? How have you utilized social media to kind of enhance your self-portrait?
Totally. Well, I must admit that I haven't been consistent since I hopped on that train. There have been a lot of moments where when I was trying to figure out who I was, I got really sick of my online identity. I got really sick of myself. Even with YouTube was something that I look back and other creators who were putting content up around when I was, and my content was more polished and put together. I think had I been as consistent, I would maybe have hundreds of thousands of subscribers, as they do. But I just never got so passionate, and I also just got sick of editing myself all the time and sick of hearing my voice all the time on top of the actual television career that I was trying to build. Mm-hmm. I've taken plenty of breaks from Twitter. I've taken plenty of breaks from Instagram because I didn't quite understand the purpose. I didn't quite understand the connection, because for me it was always dollars or analytics, which I have studied immensely, or it was buyers or pitching to clients, pitching to agents. And so in that sense, I didn't see any value aside from the superficial value there. In the last 2 years, I've taken a dive deeper because I've looked at accounts that I'm inspired by. And I've also become more confident and comfortable sharing some of the things that a lot of people feel uncomfortable talking about. And that's what we've connected on, whether it's about anxiety or insecurities with your body or loving your body, all those different growth periods, breakups, relationships, all those different things. I've realized that you can actually build meaningful connections online. And interestingly enough, I think my first experiences being online back in like the AOL days and the chat room days, I did find, but I was kind of a loner in high school, and I did find people online who I connected with. And I was like, oh, there are people out there like me. Or you would Google search and you would see other people doing things. And so in that sense, it was almost a full circle moment of, well, wait a minute. Online can be really awesome. You can use online to inspire, to educate, to connect, to find motivation if you do it correctly. For a lot of people, it's a giant shithole full of political banter and one-sided conversation and clump bullying and shaming, and that totally exists, and I hope that I can help to end what that is. And so my value has been, you can get a lot deeper. Even Instagram, I used to think it was completely superficial. And I do love Instagram. I hate Facebook. I know Facebook owns Instagram. But that's a whole other conversation. But even Instagram, that I used to think was all about the picture, it's where I've established some of the most valuable, meaningful relationships with my audience, some of whom I've never met, some of whom are in other parts of the world. But that's the thing. You can interact with people all over the world who you might not ever come face-to-face with. And as crazy as it sounds, but now with mental illness being so relevant, now with some of the most heartbreaking suicides being so public, you really can save a life on social media if you use it correctly. And if you choose to share beyond just, hey, look at this car, look at these shoes, look at this lipstick, and actually be a little bit vulnerable and use captions in a meaningful way, it can be really, really powerful. And you can establish loyal followers. Not just the ones who are going to like things, but comment. They're going to trust you. They're going to want to buy what you're selling. They're going to want to see you when you come on tour. They're going to want to meet you and hug you, and you're going to grow together. And that's what I think I've been able to do, seeing the way that my audience has shifted in terms of numbers and demographics.
Yep. And I think our perspective on social media since we started this podcast has completely flipped. We used to think of it as how you were talking about, how like, hey, I just went to the Boundary Waters. Here's a picture of me in the Boundary Waters. Now we look at it as a business, and entirely. And with that, we have a message we want to put out, and it's like you're saying, it's a a message we feel like can help people enhance their mood, enhance their lives, their day-to-day routine with guests such as yourself. And looking at social media like that has completely flipped it. And I love using it now. Instead of, I used to be kind of shied away. I was like, I don't want to show people what I'm doing. I feel like I'm bragging about myself. But now it's like I have a purpose on this platform, and I want to actually share stuff that is impactful.
Yeah, and what's also funny is like, it's social media. Like the word social media actually means something. So when we're Andrew and I are going to people like, hey, how do you get to 1,000 followers? How do you get to 10,000? It's like, comment, share,
Engage,
like,
be
engage
social.
people. Literally be social online. Like it's as simple as that, but with the right people, right? So Andrew and I we didn't really know our why at the beginning, and we were all over the place. But now that we have more of a direction, we push that direction on social media, and the algorithm and how Instagram works just gives it right back to you. It makes it as easy as possible. So like when I scroll through Instagram every day, I see the Gary V's, like all these different people.
And then the small time people who have 150 followers, and now they are trying to share messages that are really cool. And it's like, these people need to get recognition as well. And you're starting to hear from them.
And you bring them in your social circle. That's a whole other ball game. But like people our age that are liking our stuff, or just like, our friends or whatever that are in college or just graduated from college, like they're seeing a completely different Instagram than what we're seeing. They're seeing the Barstool, the Total Frat Move, their friends, their girls in bikinis, and like funny videos like that.
Which can be fine.
Which is that's not a problem.
Right.
But like when I'm trying to explain, like when Andrew and I are like, yeah, we post on Instagram every day. We post at least 60 seconds of Insta stories, and we utilize all these different things. They're like, wow, that's a lot of time to be wasting your life on social media, where it's like, no, you gotta look, you go on my phone and see what I'm looking at. Like, totally different platform.
You're finding shared values. And I've even met people, like some of my greatest friends I've met on Twitter and Instagram, just because you see someone else doing something and you say, hey, I see you. And they go, oh, I see you too. I appreciate what you're doing. Let's use this platform for good. Let's better the world. And, you're right. It is about reading it differently. Because there are people who I know follow my feed, and even though it's full of positivity and confidence boosting, I know that there are people who they look at and they cringe. They think I'm annoying. They think that I'm bragging. Or for whatever reason, it just makes them feel really bad about themselves. If that's you, unfollow me. I'm not offended. If your feed is making you feel bad about yourself, then you either need to check where your head's at, or you need to start unfollowing a bunch of accounts. Because if seeing your friends fall in love, or seeing them post pictures of their kids or their marriages is making you upset, like you're mad that your friends are falling in love and having these milestones, like why? Like that's really that's what's making you upset? Okay, let's figure out, like, why are you so mad? Why are you so angry? Why are you so jealous? It's not, you don't need that. No one does.
I understand completely what you're saying, and that's been part of the trial and error with social media.
That's probably why you hate Facebook, by the way.
Because it's all.
Oh no, I love it.
Yeah.
Well, why a lot of people hate Facebook.
Yeah, a lot of people hate
use it
Facebook. It's the families, it's the sharing, it's the politics. Yeah.
It's tough.
I hate it because of the algorithms more than anything, but and also because this is a totally separate conversation. But my Facebook account was verified a couple of years ago, and my numbers increased exponentially. I didn't buy any followers, but it increased exponentially with that check mark, and it attracted people, particularly men from all over the world, who are really creepy. So every time I sign into Facebook, I get junk messages, and by junk I mean people send me pictures of their junk or videos of their junk on Facebook. And all of a sudden, I hate Facebook as much as I used to hate Snapchat, which was the same thing. And I get anxiety looking at it because I get all of these messages. And because I'm verified, they push my posts down. So our morning show page that has not even 1% of the followers that I have on my page gets more engagement than my verified page with a lot of followers, because Facebook thinks that because I'm verified and I have a lot of followers, I can give them money. So then I'll pay to boost my posts versus someone else who they don't have as much engagement.
Yep.
It's a different conversation, but yeah, there are some really, really awful people on social media. I get it all the time, and people don't realize that. I dove in on the morning show last week and shared a message that someone I went to high school with sent me, and it was so vile and so disgusting. There are people who are really unhappy with their lives. There are people who are really mentally ill, and you have to choose which one of those are worth engaging with. And trying to figure out why are you the way you are, and there are some people you just need to completely ignore and block and report and delete. But
that's a terrible situation.
It can be a bad place, but it can also be a beautiful place. And I try to focus on the beauty of it.
And that's great, though, that you've seen the worst.
Yeah.
And are still committed to doing the best. Right? I mean, that's really good to hear from someone who has those stereotypes about social media or anything in general. But